What's good, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back at again with a brand new video. And I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. When we all heard this news, there was not a single Panthers fan who did not have a problem with this tweet I'm about to show you right here from Joe Person. It says, Panthers let running back Reggie Bonnafon go, but keep running back Trenton Cannon, who's pretty much going to be on every special team. Now look, I think I speak for 99.99% of all Panthers fans, because I can't say every single fan, but when I say this, I believe I'm speaking for the majority of the Panther fan base when I say we were upset, to say the least, when we found out that Reggie Bonnafon, a very promising player, a guy who looked very, very impressive in every snap he took in preseasons, when he earned his spot on the team this past year, we didn't see him get very many opportunities. He was not allowed to have very many plays on the field because you know how Ron Rivera is. If you're young, you do not touch that field. If you have Christian McCaffrey, you run him into the ground, you squeeze him until you don't have anything left. But in the one time we did see C-Mac cramp up, and that does not happen very often, if at all, Reggie Bonnafon did get a shot. I think it was week 5 against the Jags. He had 80 yards in that game after only being in for like 4 or 5, maybe 6 plays. He busted out what I think was a 30 or 40 yard run up the right sideline. Reggie Bonnafon showed and proved that he is not just a preseason performer. He can play against actual starters, actual NFL talented players. But after that, we did not see him touch the field very often again, if at all. I don't think I remember him touching the field more than 2 or 3 more times throughout the next, 12 weeks of the season. So we understand what was going on there. He was not given a fair chance, just like a lot of other young players in the Ron Rivera regime. He just does not like seeing younger players touch the field. And it wasn't like Reggie Bonnafon was one-dimensional. Reggie Bonnafon is an actually pretty powerful running back. I wouldn't call him a bowling ball, but he is not a very soft running back. And he's a pass catcher out the backfield, very reliable hands, just the kind of player you would expect to stay on this team, especially in a Matt Rule, Joe Brady offense, where we're probably going to be running a spread, and we're probably going to be seeing a lot of different guys getting their hands on the ball from passes from Teddy Bridgewater. So when we found out that Reggie Bonnafon was cut from the team in order to make room for Mike Davis and Trenton Cannon, it kind of hit us all the wrong way. And I'll just speak for myself here. My reaction to that news was not very respectful to the front office, the coaching staffs, their capacity to actually evaluate talent. But when I thought about the move, when I actually thought about why the team could possibly think this was a smart thing to do, to make room for a running back who is actually just a special teamer, when you can find special teamers at literally any position. So why would you use that spot on the running back? I remember the guy who in his 3 years on this team so far, we have neglected to actually highlight one of his better talents on the field. I'm talking about a guy named Curtis Samuel. You might have heard of him. This man named Curtis Samuel plays wide receiver for this team. He's fast. He can catch. The man is very reliable. When you have a quarterback who can get him the ball even semi-consistently, we know what happened last year, but still over 600 yards and 6 touchdowns is pretty good for a team that had 2 1,000-yard receivers. So the numbers aren't the greatest considering we had Kyle Allen throwing to him, but Curtis Samuel is not just a wide receiver. I think a lot of us maybe forgot that in college, this man Curtis Samuel went to The Ohio State. His freshman year, 2014, The Ohio State won the national championship. And in that year, it wasn't like he was just a guy who was just, he was there along for the ride. He actually almost touched 400 yards that season. He had 383 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns on the ground, only 11 receptions for 95 yards. So he was primarily a running back. His sophomore year, he was a running back. He had 132 yards, only had 17 attempts that year, only 1 touchdown. Then his junior year came around in 2016. This man had 97 total rushes for 771 yards on the ground and 8 touchdowns This was all happening while he also racked up almost 900 yards receiving. This dude, Curtis Samuel, is a dual threat player. I would put him in the same conversation as Christian McCaffrey. He is obviously not as good of a running back as C-Mac is, but I think he's a better receiver than C-Mac. So you can trade off what one guy is great at and what one guy is good at. One guy is great at running, good at receiving. The other guy is great at receiving, good at running. We have not tapped into Curtis Samuel's rushing talents, not a single one time. In 2018, when Cam was still healthy and we saw we had a pretty good Norv Turner offense where things were, they were moving around, a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of trickery. We did use Curtis a little bit, but the second Cam got hurt, we went full vanilla. It got boring. It got plain. None of that stuff happened again. So for the past year and a half, but really for the most part, for most of Curtis Samuel's career, we've only been using half of his potential. I think this team cut Reggie Bonnafon to make sure we have a chance, an opportunity to really see what we can get out of Curtis Samuel, because this right here is his contract year. So we may be looking to see exactly what he brings to the table, how much we can put on his plate and say, look, if you can do this, and this for us, then we can give you that contract, extend you to the future. Or we're thinking, well, this is the last year. We have to also think about DJ Moore next season. We have to think about Taylor Moton. There are other guys whose contract is coming up very, very soon. If we can't keep Curtis Samuel, then we may as well use him in as many ways as we can right now. See what this Joe Brady offense can look like. So if we do end up potentially losing him, we can say, okay, the offense moves like this with a talented receiver / running back. Well, with two talented receiver / running backs. Maybe we can find someone with a similar skill set in the draft, or maybe someone cheaper in free agency. Probably in the draft, honestly. But we may be able to get an idea of what the future of this team looks like, at least on offense, with Curtis Samuel here right now, taking the reins as the number 2 receiver / maybe even number 2 running back. And if he's not the number 2 guy, then he's getting a lot more looks out of the backfield. We're actually using those strengths that he brings to the table, that he can actually, help out this offense with, because Joe Brady will bring a very creative and a very innovative offense to this team. And if we do not use Curtis Samuel in that way, then I have to ask even more questions about what the plan is and what exactly is going on in the front office and with our coaching staff. Because if you have Curtis Samuel on your team for 4 years and you never really use his rushing talents at all, I have to question exactly what are your scouts looking at? What is the coaching staff doing? Do they actually know what the talent of our team is? Or is it hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, pass to Christian McCaffrey? Is that DJ over there? Close your eyes and throw it, and we'll see how things work out. Defense, I never heard of her. So I really want to see us make a move that makes this Reggie Bonnafon cut make sense. And even if the Reggie Bonnafon cut is irrelevant to all of this, I would love to have at least one season where we focus in and try to use Curtis Samuel for what he was actually very, very talented at during his time at Ohio State. That's how I feel about it. I am optimistic, but I'm holding back my expectations because I've seen historically, and even around right now, I've seen the depth chart and I've seen a few things that make me question a few things. I'm optimistic, but I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna keep my eyes open, keep my eyes peeled, and look to see what exactly this offensive scheme will really look like. And we'll get our answers very, very soon, because the season is starting very, very soon. That's how I feel about it. That's my thoughts. What are your thoughts on Curtis Samuel, the Reggie Bonnafon cut? Do you think the reason Reggie Bonnafon was cut was just because Mike Davis was better? Or do you believe that we will be using Curtis Samuel in the run game just a little bit more this season in this Joe Brady offense? And also, do you think we extend Curtis Samuel after this season, or maybe even in the middle of the season? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.